A single father resolutely embarked on the journey of revenge after his daughter was abused and killed by wayward teenagers. But what happened next will shock you. Let's start our story. The movie starts with a girl, Gia, who lives with her father Lee. Gia's mother has passed away many years ago, so Lee has raised Gia on his own and loves her dearly. One morning, Gia gets ready for school, and after breakfast, Lee takes her to school, reminding her to study hard. Gia informs him that she wants a dog, revealing that all her friends have one. Lee explains that having a dog is a big responsibility because it needs food and proper care. Gia promises she'll take care of it if he gets one for her. After dropping Gia off school, Lee goes to his job at a construction company. After school, Gia plays with her friends and loses track of time until evening. Meanwhile, Lee, being busy at work, sends Gia a message, asking her to come home soon, because it's about to rain. Gia quickly leaves the playground and walks to the train station with her friends, who say goodbye and leave her to go home. Lee closes from work, believing that Gia is already home, but when he checks her room, he finds it empty. He searches the house and tries calling her, but her phone goes straight to voicemail. Getting desperate, he calls Gia's friends, who reveals to him that they left her at the station. Lee's heart jumps with fear. He rushes to the station, looking everywhere and calling her name, but he can't find her. The next day, some people find something strange in the river, a body floating on the water. Officer June and his junior officer arrive to investigate. When they get close, Officer June realizes it's Gia's body, wrapped in plastic. His heart breaks as he examines the scene, seeing that she has been in the water for at least 34 hours. He tells his team to check for any missing person reports. After some time, Officer June calls Lee to the hospital. When Lee arrives and sees his daughter's lifeless body, tears flood his eyes. He doesn't believe that the vibrant girl he had shared laughter and love with just the day before is gone forever. June gently asks Lee if Gia had a boyfriend, hoping to gather leads in the investigation. Lee shakes his head, clearly confused and exhausted, unable to understand why anyone would harm his innocent daughter. The loss feels too much, and he is left with plenty questions, disturbed by the mystery of Gia's tragic death. After Gia's body is examined, a post-mortem is conducted, and the forensic report shows a disturbing truth. 2 individuals were involved in Gia's tragic fate. Officer June, realizing Lee's devastated state, decides not to share the details with him. He can see that Lee is broken and feels entirely alone in the world. Lee is eaten by guilt, believing that if he had gone to pick up Gia himself, she might have been alive by now. An assistant officer manages to comfort Lee, assuring him that they will find the culprits. The next day, June and his junior officer return to the location where Gia's body was discovered. June speculates that the perpetrator must have hurriedly discarded her body, intending to make it disappear. But unfortunately, the body didn't sink as planned. The junior officer expresses concern, saying, "If these people don't have a criminal record, it will be very difficult to track them down." This statement adds to June's worry, but they remain focused to seek justice for Gia. Back at the station, they start reviewing the CCTV footage. They manage to spot Gia for the last time at the station. Their attention then is drawn to a white van parked nearby, sparking their suspicion. They zoom in on the footage and manage to catch a glimpse of the driver's face, and they learn that his name is Leo. The next day, the officers visit the area where the van is parked, close to Leo's house. They find Leo inside, busy cleaning the van. As they ask questions, they spot Gia's phone with Leo inside, but Leo quickly pockets the phone, which raises further suspicion. Feeling increasingly disturbed at the sight of the police, Leo rushes inside his house and locks himself in his room. His mind goes back to the night when Gia was walking alone. Leo and his friends Wang and Yu were sitting in their van when they spotted her. Yearning for a thrill, they decided to approach her. The 3 of them got out of the van, and under the cover of darkness, they grabbed her from behind, making her unconscious. They placed her inside the van and drove to Wang's house, where they laid her on the bed. But same time, Leo received a call from his father, who told him to bring the van back home. Feeling worried about leaving his friends with Gia, Leo reluctantly told Wang and knew that he was going home. Deep down, he feared his friends would do something terrible to Gia. Wang and Yu taunted him, reminding him that since he had driven the car, he would be implicated if anything went wrong. Meanwhile, Lee was still spiraling into despair after losing his daughter. In his grief, he finds himself riding the same metro train Gia had taken on her last journey while traveling. However, Leo caught a glimpse of a news report on TV announcing the discovery of Gia's body in the river. Fear seized him, so he hurried to meet his friends for support. But they coldly told him that if Gia had lived, she would have surely reported them to the police. So to keep their secret safe, they had killed her. They warned Leo to stay quiet about what happened, and even beat him for suggesting that they had done something wrong by taking Gia's life. Later on, being unable to cope with the weight of his conscience, Leo decided to take action. He grabbed Gia's phone and headed to the river where her body was found. Filled with sadness and remorsefulness, and in a moment of desperation, he messaged Lee from Gia's phone, telling him the truth. Your daughter was killed by Wang and you. He also provided Lee with Wang's address before throwing the phone into the river, hoping to erase any trace of his involvement. Meanwhile, Lee, driven by a desire for answers, receives a shocking message. So after failing to get a response from Wang when he calls, Lee heads straight to Wang's house to confront him. Finding the door locked, Lee remembers that Leo had mentioned a spare key, so he uses it to infiltrate the home. Once inside, he begins searching the house, determined to find clues. Just then, Wang also arrives chatting with someone on the phone. Lee quickly hides. His heart keeps pounding as he watches from his hiding place. He found Gia's bag, bringing waves of sorrow over him. His eyes land on Wang's computer, and a wrath of anger rises as he realizes Wang might have recorded what he did to Gia. Wang sits at his desk, seemingly careless, watching the horrific video from that night, believing himself untouchable because he's only 17. Driven by grief and rage, Lee decides he wants revenge for what happened to his beloved daughter. He storms in front of Wang, his fury boiling over, and confronts him. Without hesitation, Lee lunges, and a fierce fight breaks out. In a fit of rage, Lee grabs a baseball bat and strikes Wang, killing him instantly. The moment is chaotic, filled with the echoes of their struggle and the realization of Lee's actions. Immediately after that, Lee takes a moment to collect himself and grabs Wang's phone. Changing his clothes to avoid suspicion, he leaves the house and sends a message from Wang's phone, pretending to be him. Meanwhile, the police, led by Officer June, arrive at the scene of the crime and begin their investigation. They discover the horrifying video Wang recorded, not only of Gia but also of 2 other girls he had victimized. This evidence adds a disturbing layer to the case and raises questions about Wang's past actions. Later, Officer June attempts to call Lee, but he doesn't answer. Investigators find bloodstained clothes in Lee's home, leading them to suspect his involvement in Wang's murder. Realizing the urgency, June and his team intensify their efforts to catch Lee. They also decide to arrest Leo, recognizing his potential involvement in the crime. Leo's wealthy and influential parents are summoned to the police station for questioning. When June explains what their son is accused of, they quickly jump to his defense, saying he's just a kid, overlooking the seriousness of the situation. Disturbed by their denial, June gets furious, determined to seek justice. As Leo's parents prepare to leave, the father of another victim confronts them, shouting that Leo killed their daughter. His voice is filled with anguish as he reveals that Leo had also abused his daughter, blackmailing her to keep quiet about the abuse. The daughter being consumed by shame and despair, she had ultimately taken her own life. Meanwhile, Lee arrives at a secluded place he often retreats to, a rented house away from the world. Holding Wang's pen drive, he discovers a video revealing that Wang had harmed a girl in a nearby garage. Driven by anger and desperation, Lee heads to the garage straight up. When he arrives, the mechanics refuse to share information unless he pays them. Frustrated, a fight breaks out, and during the fierce fight, one of the workers is shot in the leg, sending everyone into a panic. In the chaos, the injured worker reveals a location where Leo often hangs out but admits he doesn't know much more. As Lee's actions make headlines, a woman watching TV recognizes him and decides to help. While he's away, she sneaks and takes a look at the videos on his laptop to understand more about his situation. Witnessing that, she understands his story. Lee tells her he doesn't need to take the law into his own hands, revealing that the police will catch the criminals eventually. But what about his daughter? He says sadly. She's never coming back. Meanwhile, Officer June finds a video on the pen drive that shows Lee in a hotel with a clear shot of Leo, leading to an arrest order. Driven by his need for justice, Lee heads to the hotel. With the woman's help for evading the police, he positions himself at the hotel waiting for Leo, with a gun in hand. When the police arrive, they find a frightened girl who claims Leo hurt her and filmed their encounters. She receives a call from Leo and in a panic she tells him the police are nearby. Realizing he needs to escape, Leo takes off on his bike. But Lee is ready. In a desperate move, Lee aims and fires, causing Leo to crash. The chase begins. As Leo gets to his feet and flees into a nearby forest, Officer June spots Lee and calls for him to stop. But Lee keeps running, revealing that they did terrible things to his daughter, so he can't let them get away. June, stuck between his duty and his understanding of Lee's pain, finally decides to let him go. Later, June talks with his junior officer about a tragic case, realizing how the justice system sometimes fails victims. Meanwhile, Leo contacts a friend asking for money and arranging to meet at the station at midnight. The police listening nearby prepare to intercept him. Meanwhile, Lee is also waiting, hidden with his gun ready for revenge. When Leo arrives and takes the money, the police move in to arrest him. In the chaos, Lee confronts Leo, who begs for mercy. Fueled by anger, Lee shoots Leo, and an officer then shoots Lee. Injured but alive, Leo loses one eye from the gunshot. A year later, Officer June and his team visit Lee's memorial to honor him. Standing quietly, June reflects on how difficult it is to teach children to do the right thing. The story of Lee's pain and loss weighs heavily on them as they consider the flaws in the justice system. And that's the end of the movie. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.